This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Game Time. Snag the tickets without the hassle. Use promo code SGPN on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app, promo code SGPN, $20. We are also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play the Underdog Pick'em in college and NFL. Win up to 20 times your bet. Plus, every Sunday, they're giving away $100,000. Use promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a $100 deposit bonus up to $500. Sanderson Farms Week. I got my boy Matt Miller here. Two Matts doing one podcast. That's kind of why we did it. So Matt, thanks for joining me. Ready to talk some Sanderson Farms.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, he's a staple in the golf gambling community. Always posting his card, always posting a bunch of stuff. So if you don't follow Matt, be sure to do that as well. Before we get into the Sanderson Farms, let's talk a little bit. I lagged a little bit. Let's talk a little Ryder Cup. What's your overall thoughts on Europe taking it down, us getting absolutely killed, just looking embarrassing? What's your thoughts on the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, I mean, we got off to just such a bad start. It was almost like after Friday, it was going to take a lot to come back. We got a little bit of excitement, I guess, like Saturday in the afternoon session, and then Sunday in the singles. It kind of looked like maybe there was a prayer at tying, but I think it's just kind of we should probably learn that the old buddy system we had going failed us over there. Spieth and Thomas didn't get it done. Cantlay and Xander didn't get it done. It just didn't work. And Europe kind of went with they put guys together, I guess, based on the analytics and kind of just took it to us.
Did you see those comments that what Zach's comments on the analytics versus Luke's comments on the analytics? Like Zach was like, "Yeah, I don't really know what you're talking about. I went with the averages, went with our guys," and then Luke's over there saying, "Yeah, Dodo's our analytical guy. He was into the numbers, and yeah, not that that's really the end all be all, but it was just embarrassing how Zach didn't really know how to even answer the question, and though it turned out the way it did. But how much Ryder Cup did you actually watch? Were you up at 2 a.m. on all 3 days, or what was your viewing schedule?"
So Friday, I got up for the first match. I was pumped about it, and then we got absolutely thumped. So I watched both sessions Friday, and then Saturday, I'm like, I'm not getting up early for this again.
Yeah.
I got up, earlier than I normally would on a Saturday, but it was probably like halfway through the first session. And I mean, I woke up. Brooks and Scotty at that point were already down like 6.
Yeah.
And it just kind of looked like it was a repeat. And it started to get a little bit better Saturday in the second session, but at that point, it would just almost have to go perfect for us to have any kind of chance.
Yeah, that first session, once Vic chipped in after Lud hit that poor shot, that poor iron shot into one, I was like, all right, Ludwig's feeling the pressure a little bit. Then Vic chips in, I was like, this is how it's gonna go, right? And then the Roms chip in started happening. I was like, all right, I got to go back to bed. But I feel you. When I know there's golf on, I just can't sleep. I just subconsciously know what's going on. So I was like, okay, I need to be up for this. And then I was trying to stay up, and then we were getting killed. But so yeah, that was the Ryder Cup, a mess. We both watched probably too much. I wish we didn't watch it, but
yeah.
Let's get into the Sanderson. Unless you have any more thoughts on the Ryder Cup.
No, I mean, I think we pretty much covered it. I hope it seems like it's been a sort of the home teams had their way. So
yeah,
hopefully that benefits us in 2025. But I kind of hope we do a little bit better job with the pairings.
I agree. So now we have the Sanderson Farms Championship from Jackson, Mississippi. Arguably the most boring golf course on the PGA Tour. Just very bland. This is probably my least favorite event. Did hit Sergio here 2-3 years ago, whenever that was. But besides that, it's just a crapshoot event. It's a fall swing. But we got golf, so we can't be too upset. A very interesting upper range. I guess that even the middle of the season, you would have never picked these 4 guys to be in the top tier of DraftKings. We have Ludwig Aubert, is how we're going to pronounce it, Stephen Jaeger, Eric Cole, and Emiliano Grillo rounding out the 10K range. What are your overwhelming thoughts on this upper range, and who's your guy if you had to pick one up here?
Yeah, it's a pretty unique upper range, kind of
yeah.
like you mentioned. I mean, it's not who we're used to seeing at the top of the board. I would probably fade Aubert this week just because of kind of the Ryder Cup hangover, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
They were kind of celebrating pretty good in Rome, and now he's got to fly all the way over here to play. So I'd probably avoid him this week, even though he's probably the best of those golfers. I would probably lean either Cole or Jaeger. They've both just been so consistent lately. I
Yeah.
think Jaeger hasn't missed a cut since like April. He's striking the ball really well. Cole was right in it at the Fortinet last time we saw any of these guys play. If he had kind of made a few more putts, who knows what would have happened. So I'd probably go one of those two guys. I mean, they'll probably both be fairly popular, but they seem to just kind of be pretty safe plays.
Yeah, the Ludwig thing, do we know if he's even in Mississippi yet? Because Nikolai Horgard already withdrew. Like, do we have eyes on Ludwig? Where is he right now? Because no one would be surprised if he withdraws, and people like he should. Like, dude, enjoy it. You're like 23 years old, 22 years old. Enjoy the week. You just won a Ryder Cup and you contributed. Now he's going to go back to the PGA Tour, be the betting favorite, be the DraftKings favorite. How is he going to fare? And by no means, golf wise, should he perform poorly in this golf course. He's should drive it long and straight, have a wedge in every hole. But I don't know if I want to play him, especially at 11K. The Jaeger, the Cole thing, those guys are, I feel like they're such safe plays. Even if they get off to a bad start, they're just gonna like kind of like why I love playing Terrell Hatton in DFS. Even if it gets off to a bad start, he just grinds, and he'll finish that backdoor T7, and like he'll probably pay off for you at this upper price point. But the thing with Jaeger that I was so like shocked about, him playing this event 6 times was like crazy to me. Like I feel like Jaeger kind of came out of nowhere, and the fact that he has 6 starts at the Sanderson Farms Championship was like, all right, dude, like I guess he knows this golf course. So that boosts him in my narrative. So I guess I'm gonna have to go with Jagerbomb, just the consistency and him playing here X amount of times.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't even think I realized that he had that many starts here. He did just
Yeah.
kind of sneak up on us, and I'm with you with the Aubert thing. I mean, I kind of was expecting earlier today that it would just be announced that who withdrew from the tournament. But as of now, I haven't heard anything, so I don't know if that's going to come out tomorrow or what or Wednesday. But yeah, this just might not be the week for him.
For now, we'll put in Jaeger in our lineup, and we could always change it if we like someone more in this upper 9 or like upper 8 range. Let's move down to this 9K range. Keith Mitchell, I already think I love. Lucas Herbert had that awesome round 1 at the Fortinet, then like fell off the face of the earth. There we got SH Kim. Is that just Kim, right? Yeah, SH Kim. He almost won the Fortinet. He was doing really good. Sweet Bo, Doug Gim, and then Adams Fenton round out the 9K range. I think I just love Keith Mitchell's just overall golf sentiment and veteran presence, I guess you could say. He just has those reps. I know he's not really a prolific winner, but at this price point in this field, he can go bombs away here and then hopefully get hot with his wedges and putters. What's your sentiment on this upper 9K range and I guess whole 9K range?
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm a Keith Mitchell guy. I think he could do well at this course. I mean, he's like you said, he's a bomber. I think he can kind of take like the Cam Champ route to
Yeah.
having success here, where he just puts himself in such a good position off the tee that it's kind of just wedge. And if he has a good putting week, he really has a chance. And you mentioned it. I mean, he is a veteran. He kind of feels like he's one of those guys that he's been in the mix a ton. I just kind of see him being comfortable if he is kind of toward the top of that board. I think he's going to have a pretty good week. He's had some time off. I guess that's kind of the one thing with a lot of these guys this week. I mean, even the guys who played the Fortinet, that's like 3 weeks ago at this point. I don't think Mitchell has played since like August, which there is a little bit of rust there, but it's kind of the same way for everyone. I mean, at most guys have, 4 or so rounds in since then anyway. So I'm not going to use that too much against anyone.
I totally agree with you. Going down this range, Lucas Herbert, I think he's priced a bit too high, but he's just a guy who can get absolutely blazing hot with the putter and just literally win golf tournaments with the putter. And we've seen him do it in Europe and on the PGA Tour too. But I don't really know if I want to buy that price point. Bo Hostler, 9,200. He's a guy who I don't really want to be a part of if he's any type of chalk, but I can like see it just because he's a name, I guess a name that can perform in this golf course long and straight, get hot with the wedges and putter. Now Doug Gim, he is got back to his DNA late in the season last year. We know Doug Gim is all about the ball striking and a shitty putter. Fine, that's a fair build, but he was not doing that the majority of the PGA Tour season. Then the last 2 months, I guess 3 months, he got back to that DNA where he was striking the hell out of the ball, putting bad to okay, which is fine for Doug Gim. That's what you want to see from him. How will that fare on this golf course? Is this a golf course that he can really separate himself from tee to green? Maybe. I don't want to say yes, but if you're gonna have to get to 17 under, or I guess 13 to 14 under for Doug Gim to pay off at 9100, do we want to count on that? I'd probably want Doug Gim at a golf course that was a bit more demanding tee to green. What's your thoughts on like Doug Gim as a golfer?
Yeah, he's interesting. He kind of was. There was kind of a lot of talk about him when he first came up, and then he kind of didn't. He kind of underperformed, I guess, to a degree, and then he got pretty good for a little bit, and then he had a rough start to last year, like you said. He's been inconsistent, but there's definitely talent there. I'm kind of with you on this one. I don't know if I can fully depend on him, but I could see him being an intriguing play here. I mean, there definitely is talent there, and he pops from time to time. It's weird seeing him all the way up here,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm not fully sold on him. I feel like he's a guy that's just been historically tough to depend on.
I agree with you. I kind of like Adam Svensson at 9K. Adam Svensson is another guy who got hot, was good in the fall last year, was really good with his irons and his ball striking, and then the middle of the season kind of lost that part of his game. But in the end of the season, he picked it back up, was gaining strokes on approach at like 5 straight events, and he finished T7 at Sedgefield. He won at the NC Island, so maybe he plays good in the SEC country. We're in Mississippi right now. Adam Svensson, the Canadian in the Southeast, might be a play at 9K. I think it's very fair, and he's a guy with a high ceiling. He's a PGA Tour winner. I think Adam Svensson might be my pick in this 9K range. Besides Keith, but we'll keep Jaeger in there for now. So, how do you feel on Svensson?
Yeah, I like Svensson too. I like his game a lot. He's been a guy I've been kind of on for a little bit, with placements and stuff like that in the betting
Yeah.
market. I think he's got a lot of talent. I like him this week.
You want to throw Svensson in there and see what
Yeah,
we're
let's
left
do
with?
it.
Let's do Svensson. All right, we're left with 7,600, but we will quickly touch on this 8K range. First, I have another ad real quick, and I'm going to talk about Game Time. Game Time, if you need tickets, go to Game Time. I got my newfound glory hat on. If you ever want to go to a concert last minute, grab Game Time, $20 off, code SGPN. Literally, you go on the app, they'll show you a picture of your seats, and it's literally so easy. Code SGPN, $20 off, Game Time. All right, 8K range, let's rock. Alex Smalley, I think he's going to be very popular at this price, down to Luke List. This is kind of a smaller range than I feel like we're used to seeing for this 8K range. But there's definitely some names here that have proven some things. Mark Hubbard's a guy that is always popular. KH Lee, Tom Hoagie, PGA Tour winners. Lee Hodges, PGA Tour winner. This is a very interesting range that I don't really know. Wow, this is a very interesting range. I didn't really deep dive it. Who's your guy here? Do you have multiple picks or one pick you like more than others?
I mean, I think Hubbard's going to be popular. I think
Oh
he
yeah.
could be a nice play, but he's probably going to be very popular. A guy I keep looking at, and I don't know if it's because I saw him in half the commercials during the Ryder Cup, is Sam Ryder. But he kind of did intrigue me the more I looked at him this week.
Yeah, same.
He's been good with his irons. I mean, I think it's been 4 straight starts where he gained over 5 strokes on approach.
Yeah, 5+.
So that's pretty encouraging. It is sort of that thing where it dates back a little bit, but he was good again at the fourth night the last time we saw him. He's struggled a little bit with the putter lately, but he went through a stretch last year. I looked more into it where he gained strokes putting in 11 straight events. So
Really?
he can get hot with the putter, and if it's one of those weeks where he has a hot putting week and his irons stay the way they are, I think he has a chance to play pretty well. So he's definitely a guy I kind of have my eye on. This is a pretty intriguing range, though. There's a lot of different ways you can go with it.
Yeah, this range I feel like is gonna make or break it because these guys can all easily finish inside the top 5 or all easily miss the cut. So this range you're gonna have to take some chances in it. I feel like it could make your lineups. I like Ryder too. He finished. He was. I didn't finish. He was third in my model, which was kind of. I didn't expect Ryder to model out as well as he did. I bet him last. I guess last event at the Fortinet. He was kind of there. He finished inside the top 15, I believe, at the Fortinet. So he played good golf and he's playing good golf. We saw him pop a few times last year. I like the Ryder call. I'm also very intrigued in Ben Griffin. He is a guy who is from the Southeast, went to college at Duke. So I know it's not really the same area, but I guess it's similar enough, similar grass styles. So Ben Griffin, he was a guy who was hot in the fall. He almost won in Bahamas or Bermuda. I forget which event it was. But I feel like Ben Griffin is a guy who obviously up and coming guy who has the ceiling, who has the approach prowess, and is what you want in a golfer who has that spike approach weeks. And if he can get hot with the putter, I'm down for some Ben Griffin. What's your thoughts on Ben Griffin? Then we'll get into the lower 8K range.
Yeah, like you touched on him, and he went through that stretch kind of the earlier part of last year where he showed his ceiling and his potential. And he is a very good player. And I think, I mean, these are kind of the events too where they're not as strong of a field. These guys just pop up again and start to pop. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like sometimes you have a guy who's like a younger guy who goes through the beginning part of the season, he's playing really well, and we kind of get a little down on them. But really, it's just the fields get strong and they're not as good as some of the top names. We're back to some of these weaker fields, and these guys really have a chance
Yeah,
again
you
to
got to
kind of
get him.
shine.
This is the time you play those ugly names so you have a sliver of hope in. Like these are the events that they win and they will. If you have 1% feeling that this guy can make you money, that this guy can win you a bet, just play him. There's no right or wrong answers at a golf course like this, in a field like this. Anyone can do it. So I agree with these. The bottom names, Lee Hodges obviously is a PGA Tour winner now. Davis Thompson, Garrett Higo, I feel like he's going to be popular with that driver. And I feel like Luke List is a bit overpriced. I don't think he should be that high. He's kind of sucks now. So any overall thoughts on this bottom 8K range before we get into 7K?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, I think Higo is going to be really popular. Yeah, I'm not really overly sold on any of these guys,
I
to be
agree.
completely honest.
We'll hold off from entering a guy down here right now, and we'll come back to it if we need to. Let's touch on this upper 7K range. Akshay is going to be giga chalk, just name value,
Yeah.
price, PGA Tour winner. Everyone loves to play Akshay. Now, Nick Lindheim, he's a guy from the Corn Ferry Tour who literally finishes T5 every time he starts, but he didn't play a lot of times because he was injured. I forget what he hurt, but he played like 7 starts in the Corn Ferry Tour and like top 10 and like 8 of them, something stupid like that. Or not something stupid. I sorry, I misspoke right there. But Alex Noren, he's a guy who kind of always models out well for me at least. Davis Riley is very interesting. Davis Riley is from Mississippi, and I think I'm playing him just for that reason.
I had Davis Riley kind of start off this week. He disappointed me a little bit last year just because
Disappointed
like
me every week last year.
it was just like he went through that stretch in 2022, I guess 2 years ago, where like he was looking like so good. I mean, I think he had like 6 straight weeks where he was like right around the top 10 and
Yeah.
he looked like he was like legit. And then last year he was just fell into a little bit more inconsistency, but just like we kind of talked about with Ben Griffin, I mean, this is a type of event where you kind of play this guy, especially after it's not really an off season, but they kind of had some time off to regroup. Maybe he bounces back and this is kind of a weaker field. I could see him playing well here. And I like the Mississippi narrative too.
Hell yeah. I think down here, I like 2 guys. That's Grayson Sigg and Nick Hardy. Grayson Sigg's kind of coming on, went to college at Georgia, making these connections. And Grayson Sigg's he's not just didn't go to college at Georgia. He's playing decent golf right now, or at least was in the later half of the season too. And Nick Hardy finished, I believe he finished 5th in this event last year. And he was a guy who played well at the last few weeks of the season. He's a guy with a lot of talent. I think he can get his first win in the fall. This guy I bet here and there. Anyone else in this lower 7K range you like? And then we'll definitely add someone to our lineup.
I like the Hardy shout. I think Callum Tarrant is an interesting one for me. I can never seem to figure him out. It's like whenever I play him. He
I
doesn't do
agree.
well, and then whenever I don't, he pops up again. Um, looking down here, there's no one I'm
I think
overly.
Buckley will garner some ownership down here just because I think is he from this area too? He went to college at Missouri, I believe. I don't know where he's from, but I like making college connections. I don't know, I'm weird.
Yeah, no,
Who
I like
else
it.
down here? Who else down there? Chad Ramey. I think he went to Mississippi State. Making all these connections. Holy shit.
What do you do? What do you think of Sam Bennett? I mean, he's young. He obviously has some potential. He's another guy who's great off the tee. I don't
I
know.
think he's a difficult conditions guy. I really do. I think you play Sam Bennett when it scores 12 under, not 19 under, but that's just me trying to go out on a limb and get ahead of that narrative because I'll play him when it gets tough. I don't know right now. I'm probably going to take a backseat to Sam Bennett. Let's see who we're going to have to play. I think it's got to be someone from this 74 to $7,600 range. Do you want to throw in? Want to do Hardy?
Yeah, let's do Hardy.
Let's do Hardy, and we're left with. Well, we have someone else from up here before we get into this
We liked
bottom half
Riley
range.
too. I don't know
We
if
liked
that's
Riley. Okay,
yeah.
so we have a lot of room left. So
We
let's
do.
go down and talk about some guys. We'll do a quick run to the 6K range and the bottom 7K range. Will Gordon at 6,900 just pops off the page.
Yeah.
Guy, he is also a Southeastern guy.
Yeah, he went for
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a guy who can bomb it with a driver. I bet him at the last week. He didn't really pan out for me, but he's just a guy. Like I'm buying that ceiling. I'm buying that young talent. I think Will Gordon at 6,900 is a great play. He's shown to pop really, really well in the first 36 holes, then can't put it together on the weekend. But I really love Will Gordon's game.
He was like Mr. Early Season first round leader. It was every
Yeah.
week he was right around there, and he clearly has the talent. I mean, I remember when he was coming up, he played pretty well too. I like him.
Let's see what happens when we plug in Will Gordon. We're left with 8,500. So let's go up, pick one more guy in the lineup. But before we put this before we finish this lineup, I have one more ad read, and that is Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite football team all season long. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. From now until October 4th, Underdog Fantasy is matching 100% of the first deposits up to $500. On $100,000 Sundays continue. Enter into their contest, and 10 people will get selected to win $10,000 each. Literally, you can enter in $5 and have a chance to win 10K. Who doesn't want to do that? Underdog Fantasy, code SGPN. One more selection, $8,500 to spend. We have a lot of room. More room than I thought we would have. So we go back to right back to this range. This is the range that.
Ryder,
wow. Okay.
Griffin, yeah.
Right. This is our range. So
Yeah.
Sam Ryder, Ben Griffin, Lee Hodges, Davey Tom, Garrick. I don't think we need to go any lower than that. I think we just hit someone in this range. So we touched on Sam Ryder. We love his approach. We think you said he can get hot with the putter. I think it's got to be one of these two guys because we like these two guys the most.
Yeah,
So
it's got to be Ryder.
Sell me on Ben Griffin or Sam Ryder. Which one do you like better?
I had Ryder written down.
This is the moment of truth.
Week. I know.
Ryder or Griffin?
I feel like I like Ryder, but I feel like he's so ingrained in my mind. He was on the commercial every time during the Ryder
Cup. Obvious.
I feel like it's like kind of that advertising. He's stuck in my head now.
You know what's crazy? He's literally going to get. It's going to be 3%, but he's going to get a 3% ownership boost because of the commercials. I'm not even kidding.
It's crazy.
Like the casuals would be like, "Oh yeah, I see that guy." He's on the commercial. So I feel like we have to go Griffin.
Every time I looked up, he was on the screen.
Just therefore, we got to pivot. I think we got to pivot to Griffin.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right. Stephen Yeager, Adam Svensson, Nick Hardy, Davis Riley, Will Gordon, Ben Griffin. I think that's the lineup we're gonna go with the show. I'm gonna throw that one in for us. Well, that about wraps it up. Sanderson Farms DFS went through every tier. If you don't follow Matt Miller on Twitter, Matty Mills 85, you guys know where to find me, and hit up him if you have any questions. He will be happy to answer you, I'm sure. Any other closing thoughts for you?
No, I appreciate you having me on. It's a lot of fun.
Of course.
Hopefully get to do it again sometime.
Yeah, definitely. Literally first time we ever talked, and it was a very easygoing show when we went through the ranges. And that wraps it up. You will find me tomorrow or Wednesday. Not sure when my next show is, but doing a bunch of golf stuff. So DM me on Twitter. Any questions? I will see you guys soon. Peace out.
Peace. Thanks for having me on.